I got a call from a mom who was desperate. Her daughter had found out that she was pregnant, and her brother that lived in Chicago had set up an abortion appointment for her. The doctor told her it's a clump of cells and that she should go have her abortion immediately. I took the little 7-week baby out and I put it on her abdomen and I said, it's not a clump of cells. Look, that baby already has eyes and ears, and look at the little fingers and the toes. Her brother back in Chicago was waiting to pick her up from the airport when she flew home from DC. Wow. And he was going to take her to her abortion appointment. I said, okay. I said, call her and tell her that I'll take her baby. I'll raise her baby. And then I had to call my husband because he was on a business trip. And I had to say, honey, guess what?
Hey everybody, my name is Chris Massoglia. I'm with Americans United for Life, and we just wrapped up our inaugural Pregnancy Center Day on the Hill, where we had hundreds of Pregnancy Center executive directors come to Washington, D.C., meet with over 30 congressional members and their staff and share their stories to impact legislation. And I have the privilege today to sit down with one of those executive directors. I'm here with Becky Bailey, founder and CEO of Bella Vita Pregnancy Center, and you also have a maternity home.
Yeah, and we named it Bella Haven, which means beautiful shelter. Bella Vita means beautiful life. And we've had that. The pregnancy center's been around. I founded it 16 years ago, back in 2010. And then the maternity home has only been open for a couple years. So when the abortion ban went into effect in Indiana, we realized that we needed to have every answer for a girl that walks into our center. And for that, we needed to have a place for her to be able to call home and get on her feet. So that's why we opened Bella Haven.
That's awesome. So you run both of these ministries in tandem, or are they pretty separate, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's all under one 501c3, and so it makes it a lot easier. We didn't have to have a separate board or anything like that. And all of our girls go through our pregnancy center to take their classes, to earn their diapers, to get anything that they need. So it really works hand in hand.
Well, thanks for sitting down with us, Becky. So you are a lifelong resident of Stark County, Indiana, with an education background from Purdue University and Ivy Tech, and you spent more than 20 years working with young people as a sexual risk avoidance specialist.
Yes, going into the schools,
Oh, that's awesome.
Public, private, and Christian organizations, youth groups, things like that. So I did that for many, many years because many people don't realize that a lot of people that are in the pro-life movement have a story. And so for many years, it was difficult for me to go public with my story. And having young children, I wanted to be able to share my story with my young kids before they found out from somebody else. And so it took me about 17 years after praying and waiting until God's timing to actually open the pregnancy center and being able to go public with my story.
So what first led you to open the center? What was the beginning of your journey like all those years ago?
Yeah, so behind the scenes, being in youth ministry and doing the SRA programs in the schools, I had a lot of connections with a lot of people, and I would have young girls come to me or parents come to me and say, can you talk to my daughter? You know, all those things. And so I was kind of like my own little mobile unit before I had a pregnancy center. I had my little gray velvet box. Many of us have them. That has the little models, the 7-week, 10-week, 11-week, babies. And so I carried that with me all the time. And so I was kind of still doing what a pregnancy center did, reaching out to the girls and explaining to them that they didn't need to have an abortion, that, that there was help out there and that I would do whatever I could to help. And so what happened was I got a call from a mom who was desperate, and her daughter had found out that she was pregnant, and her brother that lived in Chicago had set up an abortion appointment for her. So the mom's like, can you please talk to her? And she ditched me a few times. I'd sit at restaurants waiting on her, and she wouldn't show up. And finally we connected because her mom called and said she just got home from her doctor's appointment. The doctor told her it's a clump of cells and that she should go have her abortion immediately. And so she said, would you come? So I took my little velvet box and I went to their home and I met with her, and she was curled up in the fetal position. I mean, that's how traumatic it is when a girl's going through that crisis and trying to figure out, is this the right thing to do or not? And, every decision is going through her mind, is this going to affect me the rest of my life? And they're not thinking about the baby. They're just thinking about themselves at the time, Yeah. And so I took the little 7-week baby out and I put it on her abdomen and I said, it's not a clump of cells. Look, that baby already has eyes and ears, and look at the little fingers and the toes. And I shared that with her, and then I went away after talking with her, and I really didn't know what decision she made. I got another phone call later on, and her mother said she flew out to D.C. here, and she had a brother that worked here, and he was trying to convince her not to have the abortion. But her brother back in Chicago was waiting to pick her up from the airport when she flew home from D.C.
Wow.
And he was going to take her to her abortion appointment. I said, okay. I said, call her and tell her that I'll take her baby. I'll raise her baby. And then I had to call my husband because he was on a business trip. And I had to say, honey, guess what? But that must have given her just, I guess, the ability to say, you know what, if I can't do it, somebody is there to help me that will take my child. So she ended up not going to her abortion appointment when she flew home from D.C. that time. But I didn't know that until we ended up at a doctor's office visit at the same time. And I ran into her, and her belly was showing.
Wow.
And then they ended up putting
That's
us
awesome.
in a room next to each other. And I don't know if you guys know, but when you go to a doctor's office, the walls are paper thin. And I could hear the heartbeat of that baby in the walls. And I'm bawling, and the doctor comes in, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, I know that heartbeat. I know that heartbeat.
Beautiful.
And so when she was born, they named her Bella. Therefore, that's why the center is Bella Vita, and I'm her godmother, and
That's so
the
amazing.
mother and I started the pregnancy center together. She's no longer with us, but anyway, that was what got me to start the center.
That's a
because I knew I needed
beautiful,
to.
beautiful story.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being there on the front lines.
Absolutely.
So what led you to starting the maternity home then, instead of just sticking with the pregnancy center? Obviously, there's a lot of pregnancy centers that we brought to DC for this trip, but not a ton of maternity homes. So what led you to say, hey, we need to go the extra step and do a maternity home? Yeah,
so we're in a rural community. We have a really low amount of housing for people in general. So housing, there's a lot of waiting list on the housing that's according to your finances. And so I just knew when the abortion ban went into effect a couple years ago in Indiana, I knew that we had to have every answer for a girl that walked through the door. You know, that we were able to take care of them, whether it was food, whether it was diapers, whether it was, financial or housing or whatever it was, transportation. I mean, all of it, for them to say, I guess I don't need to have an abortion. I have everything I need. And so that's why I knew that we had to open the maternity home. And it's been amazing, some of the stories that we've had. Our most recent graduate, it was really a sad situation. She was in an abusive relationship. She was beaten, left for dead. Her spinal cord was so injured that when she did go into labor, they didn't think they could do the epidural for her. But when she was brought into the center, she was brought in by the abuser. So we did the confirmation pregnancy test, and then we took her because she explained to us what was going on. So in our bathroom, when we do our pregnancy test, we have a little cup for them to put into for the urinalysis, and we have a marker, a red marker and a black marker. And if they feel like there's something threatening or if there's coercion or anything going on, we have them write with the red marker.
Wow.
That's what she did.
Wow.
And so we literally took her out the back door as he was sitting there, and I took her to his home. We got all of her stuff. We moved her into the maternity home. And she is doing amazing now.
Wow.
So we had to keep him away, and so we had restraining orders put on him and all that kind of stuff. And so it's there's a lot that happens. We've got girls that have had drug use in their past, and we've had drug dealers come to the doors. I mean, we've had baby daddies that, do have restraining orders that we have to call the police and say, look, they're in a safe home. We need to have protection here. So it comes with a lot of baggage when you're dealing with some of these issues.
That's incredible. So obviously we just got done with our Pregnancy Center Day on the Hill.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming to Washington, D.C. to share your story. What was your message to members of Congress and their staff that you met with in terms of priorities that you're seeing for pregnancy centers? What were some of the main things that you were sharing with your members today?
Sure. A lot of it, we hit a lot on doing a tax credit towards our donors, which would be huge for us because right now they get a deduction, but they don't get a tax credit. Mm-hmm. And so I think funding-wise, that would be huge for all of us, whether it be the centers or the maternity homes. One thing I did discuss with a few of them was just defunding Planned Parenthood, just encourage them to keep that going. That was exciting. Because I've been for so many years, the House has passed it, but the Senate's never passed it. So this is the first time, as far as I've been in the fight, that we've actually been able to defund them. So, so talk to them about that. And a lot of it, they were concerned about our state. And so kind of telling them locally what we do. And it was a great connection with them, for back at home. So it was great to be here, and do all that. And the training was amazing, because a lot of us are not as educated on what we can and can't do when it comes to advocacy. So a lot of us are scared to do it. I remember when the abortion ban was going on in Indiana and, they were asking people to come testify. I was literally the only pregnancy center that testified on the House and the Senate side for pregnancy centers because everybody was told to stay away or it was too toxic or it was, extreme and all those things. And so I guess me being naive or just feeling the call of God to go do it, I went. But, it's just a lot of people they just don't know their rights. They don't know what they can and can't do. And so having this training and stuff has been amazing.
You mentioned you're in a rural part of Indiana. Yeah. So what is a typical client that might come to Bella Vita and what's the typical client profile that you see? Yeah,
you would be surprised. So the reason why is because people don't want people to see them walking into places like that, especially if they have a situation like we've had people that are in an affair with married people, and so they don't want anybody to know. We had a girl that was being trafficked, and she came from Michigan City, which is at least 45 minutes to an hour away from us.
Wow.
And we helped her to get out of that.
Wow.
She had 2 previous abortions and did not want to have another abortion, and she was being coerced into it, and we were able to get her away from that guy. And his name is Jack, the baby boy, and he is 2 years old now. So we have typical stories like that. We just 2 weeks ago had our first APR client, abortion pill reversal client. And most people don't understand that. They don't realize that you can actually reverse the process. So it's a 2-pill process for the abortion pill. If they, after they take that first pill, within 72 hours, if we can get progesterone, just progesterone, that's all it is. If we can get that to them, we can actually save that baby's life. And so they change their mind. And, we always talk about that abortion is not a choice. Like, there is no other choice. Abortion ends in the killing of the baby. And so when we have that choice, when we find out that you can actually save your baby, even if you've taken that first pill. And so we were able to get an ultrasound on that client that came in for APR. And the baby's heartbeat was strong, and she's doing amazing. So we're going to continue to walk alongside that. And, there's trauma in that because she has to face what decision she made, that she almost aborted her child, and now she has the joy of knowing that the heartbeat's there and she's doing really good, but she'll still have the trauma of that decision that could have ended badly.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. And I mean, it's awesome to know that there are clinics in the inner city, there's clinics in rural communities, and it's so beautiful that you offer such a wide scope of services. And, being a maternity home as well, I mean, it sounds like your heart is to give these women every single thing that they need. So what is your message to those that are on the other side that say, oh, these pregnancy clinics are all fake and, they're not medically licensed and they're deceptive and nobody should go to them. And I mean, we spoke today on the Hill opposing some legislation that was trying to penalize,
That's right.
Pregnancy clinics. So what's your message to the other side?
Come take a tour. Come visit.
Yeah.
Really, honestly.
Yeah.
Come see what we do. If you're going to back it up, then you've got to have proof. So come prove me wrong.
I love it. I love it. And, it's funny because that's what our other interview said as well. Like, come take a look.
Yeah.
Come see what we do. And so you mentioned abortion pill reversal and that story that you shared. How has the increase of the distribution of the abortion pill affected women in Indiana and your approach as a clinic to deal with the abortion pill? What has that journey been like?
Yeah, it's really difficult in Indiana because we do have the abortion ban. So that's where they're going, is towards the pills. So you can just mail order those in. There's nothing we can do right now coming into our state. The girls can also travel. Michigan, Illinois, and Ohio, all around it. We're surrounded by it. So they come in for a confirmation pregnancy test, and they'll just go across the state line to have their abortion. And it breaks my heart because I know sometimes when I'm handing them their confirmation of pregnancy that they go down that road. And so it's very difficult. But we're hoping that, by getting them in there and doing an ultrasound and getting that there, that they'll see their baby. And, they say that 8 out of 10 will change their mind if they have that ultrasound. But the abortion pill itself, it limits our chance to even get them in the door or to get to talk to them because it's literally in their home. I mean, they've made their own home an abortion clinic. And so not only are they getting the pills sent to their home, but they're also having the abortion in their bathroom. And then they're having to deal with that the rest of their lives, knowing that in that room, every time they go in there, it reminds them of their abortion. And so a lot of trauma that, young girls are dealing with that a lot of girls won't admit. They will actually tell everybody that they've had a miscarriage if they had told people that they were pregnant. And so we have a lot of dealings with that where, we're confidential. And so we can't tell people that they actually took the abortion pill, but we're dealing with their trauma when they come to us because they're having nightmares, PTSD, it's horrible. And really we can't stop it from coming over and it's coming from other countries. It's coming from all over. And that's why I do what I do when I come to D.C. or I meet with my legislators or I go down to our state house in Indiana is because, we can't change that ourselves. We can be there for them, but we really need legislators to get behind, the laws that can help deter the pills from coming in or find out who's sending these, pills from outside the United States. And even during the last administration, they had taken off some of the regulations. So you don't even have to see a doctor. Like you don't have to have an in-visit, in-house with a doctor to get the abortion pill. You can just literally order it and they'll send it to you. Some of them come without instructions. Some of them come with different doses. We've had girls that'll call us and say, hey, this is what I got. What do I do? And I'll say, bring it in. Come on in. Let's talk. And so, sometimes we have that opportunity, but that's why we need to advocate for what's going on out there, and we need to educate legislators because they honestly don't have a clue. You say APR, and they're like, "What do you mean you can reverse the abortion?" They have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's you don't know what you don't know, and so for us to be able to share what we're doing on the front lines and we're doing every day to them to get them to write legislation and put in those bills, it's important. It really is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the time, and thanks for coming to Washington, D.C. to share your story. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.